And what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Turnbuckle Topix podcast. I'm your host, Pat Deneen, alongside my co-host, Justin. And this is the Raw review. And this is actually take two, because on the initial take, I spilled hot coffee all over me, all over my Cody shirt. So how about that? But look, Justin, we've got a lot of ground to cover today. We are officially 1 week away from WrestleMania. So we got our foot on the gas. We ain't looking back. And let's get into it. How you feeling?
I feel great, man. Like I was about to say before we got rudely interrupted by coffee. I was
Yes.
gonna say I can't believe it's been already 2 months since the Royal Rumble, and we I feel like we were just doing that show not too long ago, and here we are. Like storylines are really getting significant to the point where come on, let's get this over with already. I'm very excited. I feel like there's still some matches to fill in. I feel like we still have time. It's still 2 nights, so I feel like we only have what 7 solid matches so far. So I feel like they're going to add maybe 2 or 3 more. We'll see what happens, but I'm pretty excited on where they are for right now and into the road to WrestleMania.
Well, the last I checked, I think we've already got about 12 matches scheduled for
Oh,
WrestleManias.
really?
Yeah, we got about 12 going on here, not including Lashley and whomever he may fight, hopefully, if not Bray Wyatt. So it is coming along good, but I will say that I think we're looking at about 2 to 4 more matches
Okay,
on this card. And with 16, you get about 8 and 8, and we'll call it a day. That's
that's
what it's
not
looking
bad.
like. That's a safe card. No need for a pre-show. At least
No,
matches on the
no,
kickoff, right?
no. I don't think they've ever done. Well, if they have, it's been years since they've done matches on the kickoff show to WrestleMania. It's really just there's so much build you have to go over in that first hour about the what's going to be going on. So many storylines, and that's the thing. It's more so they're not just throwing matches together. They really got plots behind these, and something we can follow. So that's a lot that they have to incorporate in that first hour to really get us ready, give us a brief like synopsis of what's going on and what's to come for that night.
I want to say WrestleMania 35 in 2019 here in Jersey was the last time I recall them having kickoff show matches. We had the Women's Battle Royale, the Raw Tag Team titles, and the Cruiserweight Championship was all on the line. All won, by the way, by New Yorkers, Carmella, Tony Nese, and then, of course, Zack Ryder and
Okay.
Brian Myers or Kurt Hawkins. So, but that was the last time.
Mm-hmm.
I think since the pandemic, I don't remember. None come to mind as far as the kickoff show, and it's
That
not
makes
needed.
sense.
It's really not
No.
needed. So, look, we got a lot to talk about. Of course, last Friday on SmackDown, it's funny, the last episode we did of the Raw review, we were talking about, hey, when's it going to happen? We know it's just a matter of time. And boy, let's
Mm-hmm.
just discuss that pop last Friday on SmackDown between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens hugging in the midst of that ring. I'd have to say that you even said, as I did the very next day, watched it back numerous times. That
Yeah.
that has to be the loudest crowd reaction outside of maybe a surprise entrant or something like that. Uh, Maybe in years.
Oh yeah. It definitely rivals the pop that Sammy got when he hit Roman. But even still, like it's there was so much build behind it. Like we've been waiting for this since I think before Sammy left the bloodline. I think we've just been waiting for this to happen, and it finally cultivated into that moment. And
Hmm.
they were selling that they were dragging it out, and they finally did it. And I thought it was perfect.
We've been talking months about this, obviously not just collectively me and you, but wrestling fans as a whole, the WWE universe. When are KO and Sammy eventually gonna join forces? Of course, it had to be when Sammy left the Bloodline, but
Mhm.
we knew things were gonna come with Roman and Sammy at some point in time. But we were all waiting for this, and now which leads to them going up against the Usos for the tag titles at WrestleMania. So that's gonna be great. We're gonna start this Raw review right now. I don't want to waste any time. But last thing, main eventing night one of WrestleMania. I know it was
Oh, don't do this.
originally discussed. We're talking about it. We're talking about it right now.
Oh,
It's been
damn it.
discussed numerous times. Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, SmackDown Women's Championship. Of course, whenever Charlotte Flair is involved, like her or not, she is going for that main event spot. And this is also very
Mhm.
crucial, Justin. Charlotte Flair, this would be the second time that the women main evented as far as Charlotte is concerned. Of course, Sasha and Bianca did they main evented night one back in
Night one.
2021,
Yep.
right? So that of
Mhm.
course, now if Asuka and Bianca were in this main event spot per se for night one, this would be Bianca's second time main eventing. Charlotte Flair is probably
Yeah.
like, hold up, you're not doing it before me. So I could see why Charlotte Flair would be adamant about putting them in the main event slot. But all that aside, what do you think? Because I'm just going to put it out right here. I think KO and Sami Zayn versus the Usos should be the main event of night one. Hands down, this story is too big. The Bloodline should main event both nights. Roman night two, which he is with Cody, Usos, and KO and Sami night one. There's just too much going on.
I agree, but Charlotte main evented
Once.
already.
Yeah,
Once.
This would be her second time.
You did it, girl. You did it.
But she wants to do it two times, especially before Bianca.
Yeah, I get it, but it's just you also have to realize the spot you're in to have to follow the Usos versus Sami Zayn and KO. There's no way. There's no winning behind that.
None.
You also have to look at that. Like, would you much rather fighting on the biggest stage in the biggest event of the year in the biggest promotion for the title, second to last, to where people are engaged into your match? Or do you want it to be following probably the match of the whole weekend? I mean, yeah, I'm excited for Cody and Roman, but at the same time, this match, just because of the story building alone, is just so much more important, in my opinion.
I'll say it. I'm there with you. This is more important than Cody and Roman. As far as storytelling, I get it. Roman holds both titles. If Cody beats him, he finishes the story. But this, from week to week, month to month, this has been the biggest thing brewing.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I think both women's title matches should be the opening matches of WrestleMania.
I was just going to go there with that. I was just going to go there with that. Yeah. In a year like this, yeah, that is the best way to go about this. I know it's not traditional. I know a lot may say, hey, the women should get a main event spot for one of the nights, which I agree with 9 times out of 10. But I think even women in WWE or just as wrestling fans as a whole can all agree where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. Like, they have to put that into consideration. Like, do you not want any pop at all? Like, you have to end it's more so you have to end the night with something crazy, unless they plan like something insane for after like Charlotte or Rhea Ripley, like a return. That's the only way that you could get the crowd back involved.
Yeah.
To where it ends correctly. I'd much rather see KO and Sami Zayn hugging it out, winning the belts, and just the Bloodline looking defeated. Like, this is the weekend where the Bloodline are going to, it's over. Like, I feel like it's going to start crumbling down.
Yeah, I partially agree with that. I think this is definitely the beginning, and we'll get to our predictions next week.
Yeah.
But this is going to be, regardless who loses titles or not in the Bloodline, this is going to be a very noticeable weekend coming up next weekend rather.
Yeah.
At the Bloodline.
Oh,
this is the very beginning of the demise of everything involving them. But yeah, in short, man, I would love to see. And then some may say, hey, look, why don't you start the night off real hot on night one with the undisputed tag team match? But then everything after that is going to seem insignificant. Not that it is insignificant, but that match is going to be so up here that everything by default is just going to fall below it.
Yeah.
So that beats that, bro.
That's rough.
It's rough. It really is. But
they're in a pickle.
I hope they are in a pickle. And I don't like pickles. Do you like pickles? Because they're in one.
I like fried pickles.
Do you? Okay. I know that's a thing down south, so it's probably very. I heard it's like French fries down there, where you're.
No. Maybe. I mean, I just enjoy them, but I mean, they have them at like fast food restaurants, so I guess they're good. I mean, like, if you don't like pickles, like they're a good introductory to pickles for you. Like, I can eat pickles.
I don't like onions, but I'll have an onion ring, so it's an introduction. It will get you involved. I get you there.
Exactly. Like, I'm at a point in my life where if I got like a burger from like McDonald's or something, and I said no pickles, and they accidentally put the pickles on anyway, I'm gonna be like, all right, it's fine. I can tolerate the pickle because I've had so many fried pickles. But
you're just gonna take the pickle, Matt and Will. We're gonna get into this Raw review. Let's do it. You ready?
Yeah. So, Sami Zayn.
So anyway,
Sami Zayn and KO open the show.
So here we go. Yeah. Speaking of which, Here it is, the Raw review, Monday Night Raw that took place Monday, March 20th, in St. Louis, Missouri, at the Enterprise Center. Now, the show opened up with KO alongside best friend Sami Zayn. Was really awesome to see. All following what took place on SmackDown a few nights prior with the major hug, as we discussed at the top of the show. Huge pop. Fans were loving it. Anyway, KO starts off with, I think they like you. After a Sami Zayn chant broke out, then KO got a chant, pity chant, but Sami Zayn goes on to say it really feels good for them. It feels good for them to be on the same page, but he was saying to KO, well, they're chanting your name too, and so on. Anyway, Sami says he approached their reuniting totally wrong. For 20 years, KO made mention that he's been Sami's biggest fan, would always tell people that Sami was his favorite opponent. He's never been in the ring with anybody that meant as much to him throughout the business. I mean, dating back to the indie days, El Generico, Ring of Honor, so be it.
Oh yeah.
So now KO says Sami outgrew the Bloodline almost right away, and he couldn't stand seeing him be under Roman's thumb by choice. He agreed last week that it was finally time for them to take down the Bloodline together. In short, Sami goes on to say, "Well, Kev, I think you know what comes next." Cue the Usos music. And this is where it got really juicy, juicy, if you will. I said, here we go. And Jay said, that's what a backstabber looks like. Sami said it's Jay's dream to backstab Roman Reigns, which, hey, could be. We'll see what happens in the coming months. Now, KO said there's only one way to settle this on the grandest stage of them all. You and your brother versus me and my brother for the undisputed tag team championships at WrestleMania. Initially, Jimmy said, there ain't going to be no title shot at WrestleMania. Jay said, to be honest, though, this might be our one shot to put this KO Sami Zayn problem in the dirt. Jay accepts on behalf of the Usos. Brawl ensues. And then we're going to get to the Bloodline pulling up to the back of the arena after that. But great opening segment. We got the match we've all been longing for, as we discussed. Should headline night one. What were your thoughts on this?
Oh, I thought it was perfectly done. Having them open the show, not making us wait to the end of the show, which is great. It's just right in our face, because that's how you end SmackDown. That's how you start Raw. You go into it like they didn't miss a beat. They were playing off each other. The crowd was involved. They looked at the WrestleMania sign. Boom, cue the Usos. Usos come out. There's a little tension between the two, which is really good. It's continuing the storyline of how this is going to just crumble in front of them, like having like a disagreement, and then having Jay, the one who's been through all the scrutiny in the past few weeks in the Bloodline, have him decide, oh no, we're going to take this challenge. Like, that's really good storytelling, and they just continue to make you just continue to watch and be so captivated in this for over a year now. Yeah, I think they're doing really good, and man, to see the culmination of this and at WrestleMania is just I'm so excited. Like, I just want it to be April 1st already.
Yeah, it's soon enough, bro. Soon enough. Like I said, in a week's time, there's anything involving the Bloodline, is going to be great for this card. Like you mentioned, I think last week, and actually a few other people, even Anthony, who's been on the podcast, Anthony Alvarez, he had mentioned that, I would have loved to see a Solo Sikoa on the card too. And I said, yeah, that's absolutely true. But you also got to remember that Solo was only brought up 6 months ago when he helped Roman defeat Drew at Clash of the Castle. And look at how much he's accomplished in just 6 months' time. It's really amazing, and how important and how perfectly a piece to the Bloodline puzzle he fit.
Yeah, as an enforcer, has not been pinned yet. These are the kind of things that you start looking for in the future, and I like how they're continuing on with even the same Bloodline. Keep it with that family. You have somebody in the ranks coming up. They're continuing to build, not only for now but for the future, for future storylines. They're doing a really good job.
And what I kind of do like, I guess you could reference DX maybe, if Bloodline is split at some point in time, and if the Bloodline reforms at a later date, whether it's months from now, years from now, we could see them come back together. Maybe a new leader, a Solo could be a leader. They could bring in other members of the family, whether it's the Usos or whatever. If we get females, their lineage is so lengthy. Even if they're in other promotions right now, indie promotions, who knows? I mean, Solo a year and a half ago wasn't even in NXT yet. He was still working the indie circuit.
Yeah.
And now look at the leaps and bounds he's made. So man, it's just a lot of promise for the Bloodline storyline now and later.
Yeah, you could see an Ava Rain in the future
that's right.
Bloodline, something like that. It's sky's the limit.
Ava Rain, who's going to have her debut match on a televised match at Stand and Deliver April 1st. It's going to be her and the Schism versus Chase University and Tyler Bate. So that should be a good one.
Oh, Thea O'Neill. I love Thea O'Neill. I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, that's going to, you know what it is? We got the name wrong. After the show, it's Thea Hale.
Thea Hale. Why did I think it was O'Neill?
And bro, and after the last show, we've just been butchering names, bro. We got to
Yeah,
apologize to the NXT women. We're getting it half right. I'll tell you what, we're getting the first names right. Thea Hale, and I was just as bad as I agreed last week. Katana Chase, it's Katana Chance. So
Katana Chance.
You know, we apologize. We apologize.
University.
Yeah. Yes. So look, we're there, right? They know what we mean. We got the first name right. We just got to work on the last name bit. And speaking of Ava Rain, but just when we got it, just when we got a name right, she just dropped her last name. So now she's just Ava.
Oh.
That would happen.
Because if it was Ava Reigns and then she ends up being like Roman Reigns' little sister, that could have been pretty cool.
That would have been a wild storyline. That would have been something.
Yeah. Like she takes over the bloodline. She's like, I'm next up. Acknowledge me. And then we find out the Rock's her.
Well, I was going to say, insert the Rock, right? Oh, man, that's good stuff. All right, back to the Raw review here. And we're getting sidetracked. I feel like the associate's on here where we're doing a 4-hour podcast. Me and you are pretty focused. What's going on here? You know, there's just so much. We're so excited for WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's such a good.
You know what? While we're talking about stuff that's all over the place, time to be a fan of professional wrestling. Is that what? You know, I was driving earlier, and I had to send you the screenshot of even Mariah Carey came on this morning. We belong together. I was like, we must be doing a podcast later tonight. It's like we were just talking about that last week. I know you were in the mood. You probably didn't listen to it though, did you?
It's on my playlist. I listen to it every day. Not every day, but it comes on very often.
It's in rotation. All right, so look.
Yeah, easy rotation.
SUV pulls up in the back. Solo Sikoa steps out. There she is, Mariah Carey. No, I'm just kidding. Along with Paul Heyman and the tribal chief Roman Reigns, the head of the table. And they're in the building. But we'll get to them in a little bit. Next up, we have Austin Theory, the United States champion, makes his way out of the ring. I did notice something about his entrance this week, Justin. Did you notice it too, regarding Austin Theory's entrance?
It was a little different.
He got pyro now. That's when you know you're in. He got pyro, so he must be facing John Cena at WrestleMania because you're a big deal when you get pyro. You get the Cody pyro. He's not getting as much pyro as him, but you know what I mean. Yeah. He's well on his way.
I don't hate his entrance music. A-Town down.
He's really
A-Town down.
He's growing on me. The past year, I can honestly say he's grown on me a lot. Austin Theory, even as
that's gonna be a babyface turn that I'm gonna be like, I guess.
Well, you like heels. I like baby faces. I'm here for the
I like baby faces.
Oh, you do like baby faces? Oh, okay.
I hate heels.
Maybe it's the associate. I'm a baby face guy, much like yourself too. I can't wait till he turns babyface, dude. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
He needs more mic work. I feel like he'd be a good babyface mic. But I was watching a compilation of John Cena. It was a half-hour compilation, and it was only part 1 of John Cena just destroying people in promos, and I'm just like, it's gonna be hard to replicate that. But I guess they want Theory to be that eventually. It's just gonna take a little bit.
It'll take a little bit. He's 25. That'll be 26. What, this August? It's August 2nd. Who's counting? And
that's crazy.
Come to think of it, you know, Austin Theory. When I think of one name in particular, if he were to become babyface and if he were to become world champion as a babyface, which I think would be great one day, I would love to see Austin Theory take the title off of Gunther. I think that would be a really enjoyable match and obviously a great person to put him over. Obviously, we're talking down the road here. We still got Roman. We still got Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes maybe to a Gunther to maybe an Austin Theory, but maybe not in that specific order, but I could see that too. Of course, the title bouncing around like that.
I could see Gunther being Cody's first opponent, but having it have to circle back to him for him to be
right. Ain't gonna be first
second time around. Maybe like next year's WrestleMania.
Right. He gets a sniff of it initially, but it's not his time just yet. I can see that. I
Yeah.
can see that. He doesn't need a title on him just yet after his IC run is over. So, look, we got Theory going one-on-one with the other half of the Street Profits. Of course, last week he defeated Angelo Dawkins in a excuse me. He defeated Angelo Dawkins in a very good match last week. But this match, of course, Montez Ford, he's just unbelievable. Put on another great
Oh,
display in singles competition. Without question, speaking of the World Championship, 2 or 3 years from now, we know Theory's
he's
definitely in the conversation. Montez is right up there eventually too. He's just excelling. He's getting bigger. He must be doing shoulder workouts with Rick Boogs. He's getting huge. He really is.
he is, and it's great. I'm a big Montez Ford, and he was my early prediction to win the Royal Rumble next year. I'm just a fan, and they're continuing to loosen the leash, I think. Um, and I don't think it's doing a disservice to Angelo Dawkins, because if they eventually do a brand split, I could see both of them being on separate brands, kind of doing their own thing. Probably Montez more in the title picture, and you're looking at Angelo Dawkins as a
I could see that.
talent. Maybe if somebody needs a tag partner, he could jump in, but he's kind of doing his own solo thing in the mid card.
Now, I wasn't watching then, but didn't they do something similar when they unexpectedly split up the Dudley Boys? They put one on each brand without them necessarily splitting,
Yeah,
without turning on one another. I know they weren't fans of it.
yeah. No, they weren't fans of it, and that's why you saw Bubba Ray leave pretty not too long after that to go to
TNA.
TNA. Yeah, where he needed that kind of fine tuning, but they came back, was in 2016 at
Yeah,
WrestleMania,
yeah.
and I thought
Well,
that was pretty cool.
the cool thing was the year prior to that was when Bubba Ray unexpectedly showed up in the 2015 Royal Rumble. It was only him because AJ was the
Yeah,
surprise for 2016, but that was really unexpected. You hear those flares or was it like those rockets that go off in the beginning of
yep,
their entrance and really cool. By the way, there was just a convention last weekend at the old ECW arena, and now that Devon is no longer with WWE, it was really cool to see Bubba Ray and Devon back in the ECW arena taking pictures with fans. They were posted on their Instagram accounts and stuff like that. That was really dope. So anyway, Montez, funny as always, when they went over the barricade during this match, Ford sat down, put his arms around two of the fans, says to the cameraman, "We'll be right back after these messages." I don't know if you caught that, but the thing that is he's going to excel in is not only does he have a great presentation and is a great wrestler, but he's just got so much charisma and personality. Like you never know
oh
what he's
yeah.
going to say or do next, and I think that's really going to put him over a lot of people going forward. So anyway, Theory got his way, he got his win, and Montez gave him a run for his money, though. We all got to admit that.
Oh yeah.
Theory would win. He's on the road to WrestleMania against John Cena. Great
Has to.
match, nonetheless. And yeah, anything you'd like to chime in about that match overall?
I mean, just like you said, so much personality and charisma, and the future. Like, sky's the limit with this guy. I'm so excited for him, and he just continues to show up and show out, and it's just his evolution, and it's just showing how ready he is to be a singles competitor. And I could easily see that being the first real. I could see them maybe facing off at like a SummerSlam. Maybe that's where he loses the belt to a Montez Ford, getting his first sniff of a singles gold.
Speaking of SummerSlam, we saw the new logo for SummerSlam this year. They released it, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday this week. It is silver and blue, the Detroit Lions colors, of course, being in
Mm-hmm.
Detroit at the Ford. What is it? The Ford Stadium, Ford Field,
Ford
Ford
Arena,
Field.
Ford Field.
Yeah, Ford Field. The cool thing was they have the Lions colors, but then they kind of had like the Ford Motors type of deal with the like the Pistons
The top.
logo. Remember the
Yeah,
90s?
yeah.
Yeah, with the flames
Uh,
coming out, which is a really dope logo. And it's been a while since they really switched up the SummerSlam logo. I want to say it's been what since they initially went to Brooklyn in 2015, or no, it's probably
yeah.
even earlier than that, 2012 maybe. It's been a minute.
It's really good to see that they're taking, because like when you get rid of a lot of the gimmick pay-per-views and
Hmm.
you really start focusing on the core four, you could start really pairing the logos with the cities that they're representing.
Love to see
This
it.
year's is really good. I remember WrestleMania in Tampa was really good. Um, we've seen next year's WrestleMania in Philly with the
Liberty
Liberty
Bell.
Bell. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's really cool that they're doing that and that they're really able to focus on that, you know.
Even
But
the
I mean,
Hollywood
it's
did this year for WrestleMania is good, but
oh yeah, oh
WrestleMania they usually do a good job with, at least in recent history. But SummerSlam, for one, you don't really see anything else for the core force that's crazy. The Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series are kind of basic and standard, whereas WrestleMania is like the only one they kind of own in on, you know?
yeah,
All right, well, we're going to the Tribal Chief here. This is a big segment here. We're going backstage. Reigns tells the Usos, well, it wasn't the best start of the night. It looked like you took a beating out there, going up against KO and Sammy. Jimmy responds with and says, nothing can hurt me more than being torn away from my brother, then have to sit here and answer to it like it's my fault. I will never forgive Sami Zayn for this, and at WrestleMania, we got this. Reigns says, I hope so. Reigns allows the Bloodline to leave the locker room, but tells Jay to stay. Cut to a commercial break. This was crucial, rare, and you never really see it on WWE TV. From the commercial break, they came right back to that locker room segment. I said, this is great. We don't have to wait
yeah,
10, 20, 30 minutes for them to pick up where it's unrealistic. Like, why are you sitting there for 30 minutes? They picked right back
hmm
up. It's that serious. So when they came back from the commercial break, Roman goes, it's been a minute. We haven't seen you, haven't heard from you. I got to beg your brother to get some answers around here. And now you're back making your own decisions. Of course, he accepted the title match at WrestleMania. Are you with us? Are you Bloodline? Jay goes, I'm with you. I'm Bloodline, Oos. Roman says, I hope so. That's all I needed to hear. I'll see you later. Roman stops Jay from getting up and says, I love you. Jay Uso gives Roman a noticeable side eye. Don't know if you caught that. Doesn't care to say, I love you back. Not the biggest deal in the world, but it is notable. So who knows? Speaking of SummerSlam, we'll see how this goes. It could go a lot of different ways. Of course, if Roman loses to Cody, Roman may take a break. Who knows? We could get Roman and Jay at SummerSlam. Could be a stretch, but I think there is a little bit of a chance there. So what were your thoughts on this? And then Heyman, of course, came back and says, my tribal chief, did you find out the answers you were looking for? He goes, yes, wise man. And that was pretty much that. But what were your thoughts on this whole segment? I thought it was really strong and leaves a lot
yeah.
to the mind as far as what could happen here.
I love Roman Reigns as the gaslight king because that's what he does. I love you. Shut up. Like
Yeah.
I semi agree with you. SummerSlam could be a big night for Roman. But I think it's gonna be Solo.
Roman and Solo. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about Solo turning on Roman that would throw this whole thing off, and I think that's the twist. Maybe Solo causes Roman to lose the belt,
At
like
WrestleMania.
something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
something along those lines. Because from what I've been reading, Roman's leaving for a while. Is going to be off WWE air for a while after SummerSlam. Like he's taking an absence. So with that, I mean, that kind of leads you to believe he's definitely going to lose the belts. And I guess we'll take it from there. But I could definitely see him coming back at SummerSlam and starting something with Solo.
Yeah, I think
I don't
Solo
know.
or
Just,
well, I think at SummerSlam, I think, and I know I've mentioned in the past that if this storyline with Cody does drag out for whatever reason, and the furthest I could see Cody and Roman go is SummerSlam. So there's three opponents Roman could potentially have at SummerSlam in some capacity. I could see, in no particular order, I could see Roman Cody, I could see Roman Jay, Roman Solo. Absolutely, it could be Solo just as well as Jay. So either of the three opponents, I'm more than happy with. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at WrestleMania. I'm not even so interested as far as Roman holding on to the belts or not. If he does, great. 1,000 days maybe on the way. If Cody wins, finishes the story, great. Regardless, we're going to get a great story coming out of April 2nd, whether it's with his own family or if there is a rematch down the line with Cody for whatever reason. So it's super interesting. But I did like it. We finally got Jay and Roman talking.
I wouldn't mind the next chapter of the Bloodline, like the mutiny within, like everybody fighting. I don't. Bold prediction. Now I know I said Solo and Roman.
Yeah.
I think we could see when they're harnessing so much energy into explaining how thick the brothers of the Usos are. Maybe a Jay versus Jimmy's on the horizon. It's never happened before. That would be the ultimate. I mean, I think Jey Uso is ready to be a solo performer myself. I think he can, venture out maybe win some solo. Oh my god, I gotta stop saying
You're gonna confuse the good people. Singles, just say singles.
I'm confused myself. Singles
Yeah.
competition.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, the Usos going up against each other would be another huge thing. Like that would be complete dismantling. Like Roman Solo, Jimmy J. Like what is happening here? Paul Heyman beside himself, as far as he watches the Bloodline crumble right in front of his eyes. But let's get to this next part here. Of course, we'll be discussing the Bloodline a little bit later on in the show as well. So we get a video package for Brock Lesnar and his storied career. Then they mention Omos discussing his height, his weight, how he's nothing like Lesnar's ever seen before. Great video package. I give it an A for effort. Made an attempt to make this match feel important, as they highlighted a lot of Lesnar, of course, building up Omos as well. Personally, though, Justin, I'm no more or less excited for this, nor will I be leading into WrestleMania. It's going to happen. The match will take place. I wish them both well. I hope they have a good match, whether it's 2 minutes or 8 minutes or however long this match is. I hope it's good. Video package, obviously, well done, though. WWE does a fantastic job with this kind of stuff. They make it feel important. But it kind of is what it is at this point, I guess you'd say.
I mean, it's going to happen. Like you said, it's going to happen. Let's just take it on.
Let's just see what happens. Like you said, zero expectations, like you said last episode.
Like you said, great video package. They want to sell it. I mean, they have to. This match is going to happen.
On paper, it's a big deal, invisibly.
Yeah, it is. And for Brock to sign off on this, he has to have somewhat of an idea of how it can go to where it works for the both of them. But I mean, that might be a bathroom break.
Very well could. It's one of those things where you don't have high expectations for it, but you also don't want to miss it because it could be that quick. I mean, it's either way.
You know what it is that match could end up being a reel on Instagram that I can watch 10 minutes later. You know what I mean?
While you're in the bathroom.
It's something like that. Like exactly, it's not going to be a long match. It's not going to be a long match. So I just look at it as it's going to happen. And if I miss it, I can literally catch it if I have 5 minutes later that night.
Dare I say you'll be in the bathroom longer than this match?
Like I feel I might be. I might come back and Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, very well made. You might be having one hell of a barn burner with Rhea Ripley. Nonetheless, that match I'm looking forward to too. That women's match, wherever they place it. Again, it's no knock to that match. We know it's going to be great, but I mean, hey, when we're talking Usos and KO and Sammy, lifelong best friends, brothers versus brothers, realistically, it's got to be main event. Let's see.
All right, so how we go off our predictions to see like who does better.
Yeah.
So let's do that, but let's do one better for our prediction show. I'm putting this out there now. Let's try to predict the card for each night.
Predict the card for each night.
Yeah, let's try to predict the card for each night.
All right.
Before it comes out on the weekend, let's try to predict how we think it's going to go, how we want it to go, and then we'll put that as a tally, and it'll be like a whole nother contest for us.
Well, do you want to? Of course, we're going to do our night 1, night 2 predictions, but do you want to do this on the tail end of the go home review next week of the Raw review? You want to do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
You want to do it then? So, all right. So
I'm almost positive. Yeah, I'm almost positive all the matches are going to be announced by the end of Raw.
Yeah, I would assume so because, I mean, Friday night, you're already literally the night before WrestleMania for SmackDown. So I'm pretty sure they're going to have all their ducks in a row by Monday the 27th. So yeah, by then we'll be able to get that done. We're going to hop on, get our episode done. That episode will be available for everybody out there Tuesday morning, the 28th. We'll have that one up right away because we have a very, very busy week next week. Me and Justin and so on. So, all right, let's get into this next bit. We had a matchup against, speaking of Omos, the Nigerian Giant going up against Mustafa Ali. Now, Mustafa Ali, this was a choke slam for the victory, squash match, proving his dominance. Poor Mustafa Ali. He's going to have to be rebranded again, repackaged much like Lacey Evans, except I'm a little bit more on the side of Mustafa Ali than Lacey Evans. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I see you cracking up over there. What's going on?
Did you watch his music video?
Yes, I did when he was making fun of Retribution, right?
Yeah. See,
Oh, what
I
song
like
was that?
this
What song did he redo? Oh, he's very comedic.
Hoobastank.
Hoobastank. Yes, I did see it. I think
I
Tuesday.
found a reason for me.
Yeah, I did see that. I think I saved it too. I'm gonna go watch
It
it
was
after we get
so
off here.
good. It was so good. Like I love Mustafa Ali is just like a joke.
And the thing is,
And I feel
he
like
could go
he's
in the ring,
like
but
I
yeah.
feel like he's having fun. I feel like he's having fun.
Well, I think he's at the point too where he knows he's great in the ring, but he also knows, like, look, for me to at least get on television, or even if it's just WWE social media, I got to really think outside the box and make the best of how
Yeah.
I'm positioned in the company right now. And he's doing it. He's doing it.
I
He
love it.
may not
I'm
be
here
winning
for it.
matches, might not be winning, but he's doing that. So look, Omos doesn't need to do much. It's 7-4, whatever he is. Justin's over here swatting this fly that's really getting in his way
Yeah, there
here.
was a fly. Yeah,
I
it was
see that.
bothering me. I caught it. I caught it.
You caught it. Handle that, will you?
Yeah, it's dead. I did.
So
It's
so
dead.
much like Omos took care of Mustafa Ali, Justin took care of the fly. And look, this match was that. Following the match, MVP says Lesnar will learn to fear the Nigerian giant at WrestleMania. It's pretty much that. So we're going to jump right over to this next segment with Logan Paul. This was Impulsive TV. He was doing one of his segments. Impulsive, of course, is the name of his podcast. Anyway, Logan Paul, fun promo. We know he's great in the ring, on the mic, etc. This was enjoyable. Says, did you like this segment or what? Before I get into
Absolutely.
what
It
he
had
said?
Seth Rollins.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, anything that Seth Rollins is part of, and I like this a lot more because his direction. First of all, he's a babyface again. Secondly, his direction in WrestleMania is more defined. It was more so last year we were going off him mad that he wasn't a part of it, and that we were trying to figure out who his opponent was at this point. Going a week before, obviously we knew it was going to be Cody Rhodes, but you know the segments were just him trying to figure it out. But now there's more direction. There's more story between the two opponents. There's more build, and I like that. And I think having a live episode of Impulsive TV. Listen, I like Logan Paul's podcast. I like when I like the people he interviews. I like that the people are very transparent on his show, kind of like Pat McAfee.
Right.
But to have it live and to have Seth Rollins involved, just how he was, we'll get into it. But I thought the segment was great. I was so excited for it.
I thought it was entertaining, to say the least. And again,
Oh
Logan Paul
yeah,
is very good on the mic. Obviously, he has his own show, and he's been doing this kind of stuff for years. He's not afraid of the camera and all that. So anyway, goes on to say he's going to be fighting Seth Rollins at WrestleMania on his 28th birthday. Says it's hard to be afraid of a guy named Seth. Seth Rogen, Seth Curry. Goes on and plays the clip from 2 weeks ago when he knocked Seth out. Says it's like watching Picasso paint. Played it over and over again, and all that. Paul's microphone suddenly goes out, trades it in for a new one. Seth happens to be in the back, in the production truck, messing around with him. So Seth hits his own theme music. He walks out to the ring. Now, I think they're making the most of what is obviously a non-title match, which a lot of people may be like, oh, it's just Logan Paul. Me and you and a lot of people know he can go in the ring. This is only going to be what his
oh yeah,
fourth match in the last calendar year. It was with The Miz,
yeah.
against Roman, and now against the second member of the Shield and Seth Rollins. And so this has been a lot of fun. So, of course, this being in St. Louis, right? While Seth is coming out, Logan Paul says to the fans, you can't keep a football team and you can't even sing. Of course, speaking about the Rams, which is where they're going to be at SoFi Stadium, where they play now. And yeah, so Rollins came right in there, attacks Paul. Officials break it up momentarily. Ends with Paul hitting Rollins yet again with the right hand. And Seth was on the ground. So look, this is the second time in 3 weeks we've seen Logan Paul knock Seth out or knock him
Yeah.
down pretty handedly. So again, we expressed our thoughts and opinions on how we feel about this feud. But where would you place a match like this, whichever night it is, on the card? It's more of a
I
fun
think
match,
this
but
is.
it's going to be a good one.
I feel like they mentioned what night it's going to be, and I'm almost positive
They
it's going to
did
be
say
night
night
two.
one.
They said night one. Oh yeah, he kept saying
I'm
April
pretty
1st,
sure it's
right?
night one. Yeah, I'm pretty okay. So night one. Where would you put that on a night one card? Where we already have, obviously they're not main eventing. We have two major
Oh
contenders for the main event spot. But so would you open a show like this? Would you put it on
yeah,
a 3 or a 5? Yeah, you would open it up.
I'd open it. If you're not going to open it with the women's title match, like we would hope they would, that would easily be a way to start it off. And I kind of already have an idea of how I'm going to go about it. But yeah, I would definitely, that could definitely be like a start off match. Seth Rollins is no stranger to starting off WrestleManias and winning either. He did it with
WrestleMania
Brock Lesnar,
35. Yeah, he won the Universal Championship.
35.
Yeah.
And my question is, I mean, I think it should be first. My question is, does Seth need this match?
Does he need it? Absolutely not. Should he win? Yes. Because Logan Paul's 2-1, right? He beat the Mysterios, he beat the Miz, and he only lost to Roman Reigns in one hell of a match at Crown Jewel. I think Seth should win, though. I really do.
I think so too. When was the last time Seth won?
At Mania? I mean, obviously last year he lost to Cody Rhodes, but you mean in general on a pay-per-view, right? On a premium live event?
On a pay-per-view.
I mean, he had that 3-match slide against Cody last year at WrestleMania, Backlash, and then Hell in a Cell. So there's 3 L's he took last year in a row. I'm sure he lost a couple of others that I can't think of at the very moment.
He lost Elimination Chamber. He lost. Did he wrestle at the Royal Rumble?
I think he was just in the Rumble, right? And then eliminated by Logan Paul. Wasn't that how that went?
Yeah. So lost at the Rumble.
Yeah, it was Seth's got to win. And then at the end of Elimination Chamber, right? That's when Paul got in there and humiliated him. He's got to win. Bottom line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's how it's got to be.
To win.
Yeah, he's got to win.
Yeah.
Seth's got to win this match. Again, it'll be a valiant effort by Logan Paul. This will by no means be a squash, a semi-squash, not at all.
Oh, it's going to be a great match.
Logan can go the distance, but at the end of the day, Seth's got to win at WrestleMania and begin to reestablish how damn good he is. And I would love to see him finally get a main event match, regardless who it's against. He's still never main evented WrestleMania. How about WrestleMania 40? You got 2 nights. Let's figure it out. Let's get Seth in there somehow. And see what happens next year, right? It's about damn time. So let's go next up here. We got Dominic Mysterio with Damian Priest versus Johnny Gargano with Dexter Lumis. Dominic got the victory. Look, frog splash affecting the injured ribs of Johnny Gargano. Now, look, I'm not crazy about Dom beating Gargano clean. You know, he does have a great feud brewing with Grayson Waller for Stand and Deliver on NXT. I do understand that. But anyway, I wasn't crazy about that. But nonetheless, Dom cuts a post-match promo, says his good-for-nothing father denied his challenge for WrestleMania. Dom says he won't stop until he gets what he wants. Dom goes on to say the entire Mysterio family will be there in Las Vegas this Friday at SmackDown. Says he's figured out a way for his father to accept a match. He said something along the lines of asking Mom for permission for him to accept Dom's challenge. In short, said something in regards to seeing if she'll allow him to take his father's balls, out of her purse. So, man, he's not pulling any punches here with his father. And this is going to get really interesting tonight on SmackDown as far as what's going to take place here between the Mysterio family. I think that we could certainly, you did mention last week that, you know, it may involve the mother in some capacity. And here we are. You, of course, were alluding to the Hall of Fame night induction ceremony for Ray next week. But it looks like it may very well happen tonight.
Yeah, it might. And like I said last week, the most intriguing part of this, outside of Dom being incredible, I love it. The thing about this is what's going to put Ray over the edge. And if we're being honest, I really wish this would have been the go-away show of SmackDown. This is the only match that I would have wanted to see last minute. Okay. Like up until because the last SmackDown is the Hall of Fame, right?
I believe so. That should be on the 31st. Yeah, I think they're still doing it after SmackDown. Yeah. Okay,
so it's like I feel like that's the only match I'm waiting. But if they do it tonight, as long as like the mom's involved, I think that would be very smart to do, because I feel like that's the only thing that's going to put Ray over the edge. Like, you hurt somebody else in the family.
So it's going to be one of 2 ways. And which way do you think it's going to go, regardless of who's involved? The mother, the sister, Ray himself. Does he finally accept the challenge and pushed over the edge by physicality, or will it be something verbal?
I think it's just going to be verbal. I think what Dom's going to do is make his mother cry. He's either going to make his mother cry or make his father cry, and then his mom's going to be like, Ray, kick his ass. Or he's going to make his mom cry.
Yeah, she might slap her son.
he's gonna make, or he can like catch the slap, and then Ray doesn't like that, something like that.
Right, grabs
I mean,
the
there's a
wrist.
lot of different angles they can do, but either way, it's gonna be. I'm glad that they're getting, because that feels like the only way to get Ray, like push him over the edge. You gotta hurt family. The only way to fight family is to hurt other family.
Sure. Yeah, it's I see it's got to happen tonight.
Yeah,
Everybody's there. Everybody's there. So
exactly.
nonetheless,
It would make sense.
yeah, squared away. But like you said, I would have been fine with it the following SmackDown, especially if the Hall of Fame was to follow SmackDown. Why not just book it
Mm-hmm.
last minute? Because it's something we know it was brewing for months since the fall.
Yep.
So anyway, next segment we got here. Heyman tells the Usos in Solo that Roman said to take the rest of the night off, enjoy some shrimp, lobster, mahi mahi. I believe it was on the bus or something like that. But then suddenly Heyman tells Solo to come with him. Uh, I think it was to come with Roman Reigns, which we did see later in the night. That's exactly where all three of them were. So the Usos were left on their own. So, what'd you think about that? Them being held up there for a second.
I mean, I knew something was up, and they do this more often than not. Like, that's how they go about separating them. Like, oh, we'll catch up with you later. Oh, we're gonna go out in town. Oh, let's go in the private jet.
Right. This wasn't the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, they do this, and I guess if they're gonna continue doing it, at least there's consistency with that. Like these guys are balling out. Like, go have some fun, but keep one. Like, I get it, and I thought it was very good. I thought it was. I liked where it was, to where we knew the rest of the night was gonna go with Roman. So at least we knew Solo was gonna be there. So he's involved at some capacity, more so than I would have thought he would have been if it was all of them.
We're going to Edge. We're going to Edge here. All black
God.
all black backdrop here. Now look, there was 3 burning candles in the background. I couldn't help but think, does that symbolize the 3 members of the Brood, Gangrel, Edge, and Christian? Maybe.
Oh.
Maybe. I think we're leaning into this this Brood Edge. So anyway, that was my thoughts on that. Towards the end of this promo, he goes on to say something along the lines of, we can't become what we want by remaining who we are. He tells Finn Balor, leave Finn at home and bring your demon. I'll bring the devil. He'd like to meet him. Obviously referring to the Demon King, which we will be getting, hands down. We're just hoping it's black and purple instead of black and red, which would be a different play on the paint that we saw year after year in NXT and even against Roman, right, at Extreme Rules in 2021. Last time we saw the Demon, I believe. So anyway, are you led to believe that we are closer to seeing Brood Edge?
It's unfortunate that he's done it already, but at the same time, I feel like that's the only way you can go about it.
It's hell in a cell.
I want them to keep in mind what has not worked with Bray Wyatt when he was the Fiend. I hope they don't do it as like the all red. I hope it's just a normal match. I feel like it's a little off-putting, and that can really like hinder like the flow of the match if they do it that way. I feel like I don't know. I don't know where my level of excitement is right now. That promo was kind of corny to me, if we're being completely honest.
You didn't like
I thought
it
was
promo.
kind of corny. I didn't. No, it felt forced. I feel like when it's coming to, when it comes to the Demon, when it comes to Brood Edge, I feel like that has to be more organic, and I feel like it didn't need to be. I feel like it was understood when they announced that it was going to be a Hell in a Cell. I feel like he didn't have to be so blunt and forward with it. I didn't like it.
I get that.
It was probably one of my low points of Raw.
Really? Wow.
And it kind of put me off on Edge. Like I wanted Edge to win, but now I'm kind of pulling for Balor. I mean, I didn't think it would have mattered. I thought Edge could have still won, and that Finn's lost his Demon before.
Yes.
But now I don't know. I don't know where my level of excitement is, and I don't know what more they can do to kind of boost me up. Like, they have one more show that they have one more Raw before to really get me back engaged, because I genuinely was. And I mean, we'll see what happens. It on paper it looks like a great match, but I don't know. I feel like I feel like it's been going on for so long that if they don't end it here, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, I think they'll end it here. I do agree with you from the standpoint during that promo, the constant insinuations, although they were great lines, we've kind of seen this telltale before in recent weeks that we are going to get um, a Demon King Finn Balor. You know what I mean? I think this match won't disappoint us. I think this will be the finale between the two, rightfully so. And it's been dragged out for quite a bit. I do agree with that. But I think it's going to be a great match. I do think it will deliver, even though it wasn't maybe, in your opinion, the best promo. I had no problem with it. But again, I do see that they are constantly hinting at, look, it's going to be different personas. For at minimum,
Yeah.
Finn, probably Edge too. We get that. Leave it to the imagination for us fans in the next week or two. Just show up, whomever you're going to show up as at
Mhm.
WrestleMania for Hell in a Cell, which I love the fact that there's going to be a Hell in a Cell match there, and it's not just a pay per view where we're like, oh, Hell in a Cell, we need two matches. Who's going to be in the cell? Like now we have a place
Yeah.
to have the cell at random. It could be at random pay per views whenever it's needed. I will say though, this is going to be one of the rare occasions where we do see Demon King Finn Balor in a heel role, even though he comes off portrayed as a heel.
Yeah.
Typically in NXT, he more times than not, maybe every single time, he was babyface as the
Mhm.
Demon Finn Balor, even up against Roman Reigns, was babyface. Reigns being the heel back in 2021 when he brought it to the main roster. So, man, this is going to be different. Him being a heel, and hopefully we
Mhm.
get that black and purple, and hopefully that should be pretty good,
Yeah.
right?
I hope so.
So we're moving on here. Rhea Ripley coming out. She doesn't refer to herself as the Nightmare anymore, right? Since Cody's here, it's been about a year
Makes
since
sense.
they called her the Nightmare Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Since the Judgment Day, that's
They
fine.
call her
She's
something
mommy
else?
now.
No,
She's
now
just
she's just
mommy.
mommy.
Yeah, mommy. That's cool. Rhea Ripley makes her way to the ring, cuts a promo on the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, says to the crowd, "Don't what me. You're all pathetic." That was great. Says she brings out all of Charlotte's deepest insecurities that she tries to mask as confidence, because every single time we've gone to war, I've gotten up. What you try to do is keep people down, which many would agree that Charlotte's buried quite a few people in the past. It's nor here nor there, but not me. Says she has to admit, you're done, you're washed, it's over, you have to go home. Where you mean absolutely nothing. Without the WWE, you are nothing. At WrestleMania, Rhea says she will become champion and be the biggest star in WWE in Charlotte. You don't need to respect me, but you will fear me. Now, before Damage Control enters, I want to get your thoughts on this Rhea Ripley promo. I thought it was damn good.
I thought it was really good. She needs to win. She needs to win.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt in my mind. Like, if there's one person I can guarantee a victory, it's her. Like,
One
she
thing
needs this more than anybody.
I also wanted to mention, once Raw was over, I got to thinking, like, hey, we saw who opened the show, right? The Usos, KO, and Sammy, who we discussed, hey, who should main event night one? At the top of this show, even though the match was just made official the other day, I do understand that where Charlotte and Rhea has been in the books now for 5 or 6 weeks. I understand since
Uh-huh.
the Royal Rumble, since she won the Rumble, but seeing everybody in person for the men's tag match, and although Rhea and Charlotte have faced off before on TV in the recent weeks, it's kind of leading me to believe that if we don't see Rhea and Charlotte on the next episode of SmackDown or Raw face to face, maybe they're kind of shying away from the main eventing and saying, hey, look, they could cut their promos on each of their brands, and more emphasis is what I'm getting at with the people that
Yeah.
are going to be main eventing. They need to be on TV with each other every week. Whereas these women, they could cut awesome promos on their own, but they don't need to be face to face. They'll put on a great match, but again, maybe they're shying away from them main eventing night one. I was kind of thinking that, but from seeing this, I don't know if you had any feeling on that.
I didn't until you brought it up, but it makes sense. I mean, I could definitely see that. That could definitely work in their favor to kind of, but at the same time, they can't bring it back too much because we don't want there to be no build behind it. We don't want there to be no story behind it that we're engaged in. So I think they're doing it right if they do decide to do it that way. I think that would be the smartest way to go about it because the focal point of this story has been the bloodline, whether we like it or not.
Right. That's the bottom line. Let's talk about Damage Control. They come out during this Rhea promo was pretty much wrapped up. Entered DC. Damage Control comes out. Bayley says she pinned Charlotte in her first WrestleMania 33, when she retained that Raw Women's Championship, and that if Rhea needed any advice or pointers, she could have just came to her. Rhea declines, Bailey goes on to call Rhea. Cocky says that Raw is their show and that maybe they need to remind her of that. We got an impromptu match between Bailey and Rhea Ripley. Rhea was not in her ring gear, it was semi street clothes, I guess you could say, sports bra, whatever, pair of jeans.
Hot.
It was kind of hot though, I'm not gonna lie. I did not oppose. So anyway, this wasn't too long of a match. I mean, it was a lengthy match, I guess you could say, but I've been noticing that there's been a lot of impromptu matches in the recent past. Well, Cody Rhodes a couple weeks back was fighting in his,
Corbin.
he's fighting Corbin in his suit or dress shirt. From time to time, we see Miz having impromptu matches, whether it's after a Miz TV segment. He's always in a suit and tie. So I'm not completely against an impromptu match. I guess when needed, whatever, right? Gets the job done. Mid-match, though, Trish, Lita, and Becky Lynch made their way out. Becky had she splurged for the giant popcorn. In an arena like that had to go for at least $50. I'm thinking, man.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big
Easily.
bag. Maybe 75.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessarily big bag of popcorn. Anyway, that was just too much. So they're out there. She had the popcorn. Rhea ends up hitting Bailey with the Riptide for the victory. Now these six, they'll meet in less than 2 weeks' time. We're going to get Damage Control against Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch. Could you see, like I hinted at last episode, could you see Trish Stratus turning heel on Becky as early as WrestleMania, or would you rather let that play out in the months to come if it does lead to a match at SummerSlam? You got plenty of time. You got 4 months.
I don't know. Exactly. We have plenty of time. I feel like it could build over time. There could be hints of it maybe at WrestleMania, but I mean, we got to see the three of them win. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to see the three of them beat Damage Control. Outside of that, this was the most random thing I've seen in a while. This threw me off random. So much. I was so thrown off. I was like, wait, we're about to have a heel versus heel match. Like the fact that it was impromptu, but an impromptu heel versus heel match that never happens.
No.
Ever. Like, we have a build for that, and usually it's for like a number one contenders against like a baby face. Like, it's not like, you never see that. I was so confused. I was just like, what?
Well, I'll tell you
but at the same token,
go for it.
I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
What I was going to say was, at the same token, I get it, because you have to build Rhea as more. I feel like she's going to grow into more of a Randy Orton type anti-hero. People cheer for her, but she's still kind of a dick, but she's like still kind of like a fan favorite. Like, that's what happens when you're the champion. So I don't know. I mean, especially if they're going to be, if she's going to be on SmackDown, if she wins, like, that's a whole nother thing. Oh my goodness. They need to do a brand split or something. They need to figure this out, because there's a lot going on
with the women, right? With the women's tag team picture. I thought we were certainly going to get those titles defended at WrestleMania, but they're not. Whatever. Now, they're still in the midst of putting together the women's 4-way tag team match. The men's, we already know, is going to be Braun and Ricochet versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders versus the Street Profits. That's going to be an amazing match. All 4 very good tag teams. The last time we're likely to see Alpha Academy together. We've seen it teased week after week more than ever. Otis being dragged away in one way or another from the Alpha Academy. I'm going to be sad to see them split up. I will, but this is going to be a good match. Now, the women, they're in the midst of putting together their own match. I think only one of the 4 teams are currently involved. I think they won one on Raw or SmackDown in the past few days. I think it was SmackDown. Raquel. Who's she with? Liv?
And Liv. They beat
Tegan Knox.
Tegan Knox and Emma.
And Emma, yes. So that's the first team that punched their ticket. There's going to be 3 other teams, I'm pretty sure, that are involved. Now, with these men's and women's tag team matches, does that qualify them for a number 1 contenders tag match?
They didn't really talk it. It was very funny that it was very specific that they didn't mention that. It's more showcase, which is cool. I guess it's something different than doing like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Yeah, that's true. There's a little more meaning. I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. All
right. Well, let's go to this next bit here. All right. We have a brief segment with, speaking of Otis, the Maximum Male Models. Now, look, good stuff here. I gotta be honest though, sadly, this was the one part of the show that I really didn't get to see too much. So maybe you could take it from here. Don't know how interested you were in this or not. But what happened with this part before we got to the Ricochet Strowman versus, or I'm sorry, before we got to the Ricochet Chad Gable match, which was a great match by the way. Do you recall what took place with the Maximum Male Models back here?
So another week where Chad Gable was looking for Otis. Otis was taking pictures again. He was with Maximum Male Models. Well, he was with Maxine Dupree, and he mentioned that don't the Maximum Male Models have a match against Anderson and Gallows, and then she said they had to postpone it because something happened with Monsoir or something. I don't know. Something cosmetic again happened.
Still not cosmetically cleared.
Yeah. And they couldn't wrestle. And then she pretty much said one of the best hand models, like hand model agents, wanted to meet Otis, and she kind of pulled him one way, and Chad pulled him the other way, and then he ended up going out with Chad and leaving Maxine Dupree in the back.
And I think that's where I picked up where they went out for the match, right? We had Ricochet with Braun Strowman versus, of course, Chad Gable with Otis or Otis. Like I said,
Yes.
his Twitter has changed, as I sent you earlier this week. Even though the Twitter handle is still Otis, whatever, it's Otis. Was it Otise? So looks like he's well on his way out of there. Raw after Mania, he may officially be a Maximum Male Model. How about that? So anyway, this singles match between Ricochet and Gable was really good.
Really good.
Really good. Obviously, we knew both of them can go. That's nor here nor there. But man, this may be the beginning of Gable's run. They're showcasing him, right? It's been a couple of weeks now. So anyway, like I said, they're probably going to split them up. During this match, Maxine Dupree tells Otis he needs to return backstage with her. This went on to distract Gable for a bit. Ricochet hits Gable with a shooting star press to get the victory. And again, as I mentioned, these are going to be 2 of the 4 teams in that WrestleMania Tag Team Showcase, as they're calling it as of this recording. Nothing mentioned of a #1 contendership for a tag team title opportunity post-Mania. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll see about this. And I don't know. If there's one team to come out with a victory here, I think one team that really needs it is the Viking Raiders. This isn't my prediction, maybe not yours just yet, but I think it would be most important for the Viking Raiders to get a win here. I mean, we know the Profits can go. Alpha's going to split up. Ricochet and Braun, we know they're great, but as a legit tag team that's been repackaged a couple times, I think the Raiders need this.
I think they do too. And if it is for like a #1 contendership, I feel like you have to put it on a heel team to try to come out. And it leads you to think, like, who are going to be these opponents for KO and Sammy? Like, right. I feel like I could see a lengthy run, but there are some teams that might be free agents soon, that might be coming to WWE, coming back, which would make sense. Another team that's been talked about that could come back. If you don't know, I'm referring to
FTR,
and also the was it AOP?
AOP. Okay, that'd be an interesting one. They've been gone for about 4 years.
It's time to start thinking about heel tag teams that are going to be going up against this, and I feel like there's a lot less of those. So we're going to see in the coming months, and the Viking Raiders are one that's perfect. I feel like the Usos, they're going to kind of, like, after this, maybe they'll have a rematch clause, but kind of get pushed into the frame, like into the back. And if you're going to keep these as a babyface run, I feel like it's been so long since we've seen a babyface tag team. Speaking of one,
there they are.
A babyface tag team with the belts, that we're going to see a bit of a lengthy run. I see a couple 100 days possibly. KO and Sammy.
That'll be fun. Look, you talked about AOP, Akam and Rezar, right? They've been gone for the better part of 4 years from WWE. I feel like it was definitely before the pandemic hit. So sometime in 2019, I believe they were released, which is pretty crazy. It's been that long. But yeah, FTR, the Revival, who knows? Maybe will they be coming back? The most recent episode of AEW Dynamite this week, They challenged the Guns for their AEW World Tag Team Championships. At first, the Guns were reluctant to accept the challenge. Cash Wheeler said, look, um, we'll split up as a tag team. We will no longer wrestle as a tag team in AEW if we lose to you guys. And that wasn't good enough for Austin and Colton Gunn. Dax Harwood jumped in, formerly known as Scott Dawson, jumped in and said, if we lose, we will leave AEW, which everybody was like, oh my God, especially since their podcast came out this past Thursday, FTR, in regards to, I believe, their NXT run and Triple H and stuff. So, shameless plug there for them to kind of hint at, will we be leaving? And here's, our past in WWE. It's been the conversation since 2023 about them potentially going over there. I don't know. If I had to lean one way or the other right now, I would say they're not leaving AEW. Would love to see them in the tag division. Don't get me wrong, but would be a hell of a pickup for Triple H and company to get them back.
Yeah, their contracts end April 1st, which kind of lines up with them possibly coming back the Raw after WrestleMania.
That'd be huge.
Although I am hearing that they're not going to have that many big returns, if any, outside of possibly Matt Cardona. Just what I've been reading, I feel like they might not do that. I feel like I can go either way. I like FTR. I like them as a tag team. I think they're great. But if they're gonna have to, I feel like they should be, free agents, kind of like maybe wrestle in Japan for a little bit, do like do small contracts, and then eventually when the time is right, bring them back to WWE to go up against maybe a Sammy and a KO, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they're not going back to AEW, if I'm them, and if I'm WWE, Triple H, I'd bring them back immediately. That would be my thing. I'm not saying they don't have several years left in them, but I think now's the time when they're hotter than ever. But we'll see. What remains to be seen. The coming weeks, we'll know one way or another. That's for sure. So let's go on to this women's segment. We have Bianca Belair and Asuka versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Now, have we learned anything throughout the week as to why Carmella, who was advertised initially to be Chelsea's partner against them, was not on Raw this week? Of course, her husband Corey Graves was on commentary. Did we find out anything in regards to why she missed that show?
Not that I know, no. Mm.
Yeah, same here. Same here. All right, nonetheless, Bianca Belair obviously showcased her strength yet again, hitting Piper Niven with the KOD. Her strength is crazy. Female Cena. I've been seeing it all week on the Twitter timeline saying she really is the female Cena, just the obviously potential of just being the face of a company, especially that women's division, and the utter strength and how she does it so effortlessly. Unreal.
So good.
What'd you think of
so
that
good
when she had her up in the air?
That was crazy. Like when I saw her on her shoulders, I was like, Jesus Christ.
I was like, don't break. WrestleMania's next week. Don't break.
Yeah. I mean, it happened to Rick Boogs.
Yeah.
Like his legs gave out on him.
Yeah, no, it's a real thing. I mean, Piper Niven, man, she's solid. She's strong as hell. So kudos to Bianca for getting her up in the air. What's he say? It's a lot of lady.
A lot of lady.
It's a lot of lady.
A lot of love it.
I'm gonna leave that to you. So we're gonna move on here. Justin's getting excited over here, getting out the lotion. My God. So look,
a lot of lady lotion.
A lot of lady lotion. Oh my God, this show is parental advisory. So look, they got the victory, Bianca and Asuka. There was a post-match attack, however, by her tag team partner Asuka, her opponent for WrestleMania, who we both think is likely to take that Raw Women's Championship off of her, and Asuka should get her WrestleMania moment. So she didn't get the blue mist, right? She didn't get the blue mist, but she did get beat down pretty badly, convincingly. And this obviously we know this match isn't in contention, which it easily could be. It's just not in the conversation of main eventing either night, of course. But obviously a main event match, hands down, between Asuka and Bianca.
Easily,
without a doubt. Look, we're gonna go to the main event. It's main event time. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
So look, we got Roman's Legacy versus Cody's Story, and here we go. I'm wearing my Cody Rhodes shirt. See, it couldn't say Cody Rhodes on it because this was just when Cody left the company in the spring of 2016. He was formerly known as Stardust. This was his first wrestling shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees, and he didn't have the rights to the name Cody Rhodes for a few years. He got it later on, I believe, once he was in AEW, but he was just Cody those first few years in New Japan with the Bullet Club. running the indie circuit, going through Ring of Honor and so on. So he was just Cody, but we all knew who he was. That's for sure.
Mhm.
So look, I said to myself, they've got a good 20 minutes. It was about 9:40 or I'm sorry, 10:40 or so, and I said, look, this
Uh-huh.
is going to be a lengthy segment. But then I forgot their entrances, which, by the way, I am looking very much forward to Roman and Cody's entrances at WrestleMania. It's going to be great. Epic. Two of the most epic theme songs in WWE Pro Wrestling in general. Anyway, by the time Roman got to the ring, Cody's entrance wasn't too elaborate, thankfully. I'm like, dude, their time is split in half. They got like 10 minutes now. Not that they can't get
Yeah.
everything accomplished, but I was like, they would have had a much longer block if they would just get there a little quicker. So anyway, Roman Reigns makes his way down to the ring. Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman with him. I can't emphasize this enough. Solo is the perfect fit. Dude doesn't even have to say anything. He's just having him as that enforcer, quite literally, is just great. He's an embodiment of the bloodline. I think you would agree. So anyway, Roman gets in the ring, says, St. Louis, acknowledge me. Cody's music immediately follows. I said, thank God, let's get this show on the road. Roman goes on to say, Cody's not the problem. It's what he represents that's the problem. Roman says he's a fighter rather than just a professional wrestler. Roman said, look at your track record. You didn't want to do the Stardust thing. So that happened. Where what happened? You ran away. You started a company promotion that you couldn't get over in, which I disagree with. He did get over in, but he just didn't want to turn
Yeah.
heel because the fans did turn on him later on. And then what happened? You ran away. And then you came here. He got over and his body quit on him with a torn pectoral muscle, of course, before Hell in a Cell. So April 2nd is just a moment. It's like a lotto ticket for you. On April 3rd, you're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror, or you'll do what you always do and run like a little bitch. Now, Cody's promo last week on Raw was great, and this rebuttal to Roman this week, not only was it fantastic, but it was, of course, better than their initial meeting. Roman owned that one. This one, you could argue went either way. Some may even say in favor of Cody here.
Mm-hmm.
Cody says, look, I did run away. What I did while I ran away was so that every locker room could make a lot more money, which is also very true. Stood up for, wrestlers' rights and all that all over. Cody said, nobody needs to bring up my father one more time. He's not coming to this ring to hit a bionic elbow. My brother works elsewhere. The only thing you're going to see at WrestleMania is me. You want to talk about family? How about my mean-ass Cuban mother who would say in this moment, knock that boy out, and while he's laying there, hit him again for good measure. April 3rd, you're going to remember what it's like to lose. Says Jay is going to leave you, and then Jimmy will leave you too. Then he goes on to say to Solo, you think you're ready, but you're not ready. Solo will leave you too. Says Heyman will become an advocate again. Insert Brock Lesnar. You simply will be Roman with no more reigns, a chief without a tribe. Roman dropped the mic, and him and Heyman left the ring. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Solo and Cody had a face-off. Solo was set to hit Cody with a Samoan spike. Cody halts it with a kick to Solo's head. Solo goes for it again. Roman jumps on the apron to stop him. Raw goes off air. Now, there was footage that showed up a day or two later on Twitter timelines and stuff. I'm sure you saw it by now.
Yep.
Where Roman was literally yelling, screaming at Solo in his face as they were making their way back to the entrance to the backstage. Again, as you said at the top of this show, you could just as well see Solo and Roman at a SummerSlam or event going forward as we could see Jay Roman. So there's so much to discuss here. Start where you want with it. And again, great promo, great main event segment. And at the end, it really made it interesting with Cody, causing cracks that are pretty much already there in the bloodline.
Yeah.
And then Roman stopping Solo was almost like Cody being right. Like, you're not ready. Like, slow down. You're not ready for Cody Rhodes. And so it leaves a lot to question here.
So, and it's kind of ironic that SummerSlam is going to happen in Detroit, because you know what this gives me vibes of? It gives me vibes of Shawn Michaels and Diesel. Two dudes with attitudes. He was more of an enforcer when he first came about. Diesel was in the background, not talking. Kevin Nash was just doing his thing, being that enforcer, letting Shawn Michaels do all the promos, everything like that. Obviously, Shawn Michaels hadn't won a championship yet, and Diesel had one before him, all this stuff. But it does give me some of those vibes like, listen, this is my muscle. I'm who I am. I'm still that guy, but I need my muscle. And you kind of see them starting to break up and things like that. So it's just adding on to the story. It's really bringing everything together. Like, you're not missing one part of the bloodline. Everything's getting brought in, and it's all going to culminate in a week from tomorrow.
We knew there was problems within the bloodline, but the fact it's all being
Mhm.
brought to the surface, and it's not just the bloodline that knows it or the fans. It's like, a Cody pointing out, like, look, you guys got some bigger fish to fry. Like, yeah, me and Roman have a match at Mania, which is huge for both of them, but you guys have a lot going on in the background that you guys aren't necessarily
Mhm.
addressing. And obviously, you all bow down or listen to the head of the table, but how do you really feel? And
Yeah,
what eventually will happen? It's just a matter of time. But yeah, very good segment, and very
so good.
back-to-back weeks. Very strong, Cody. Loved it.
Yeah,
So that was that.
it's going to be good.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be good. Let's talk a few. That was it for Monday Night Raw, folks. We're gonna talk a couple notes before we get out of here. Of course, couldn't do without. Now, Bobby Lashley tweeted on Thursday morning, goes on to say 9 days until the Almighty takes over SoFi Stadium. Someone is getting the ass kicking of a lifetime. I'm fresh and ready for a fight. Hashtag WrestleMania. Now, I want to shout out another big time YouTuber, podcaster. He's been doing it for about 15 plus years. I don't know if you ever listened to Solomonster, Jason Solomon, very good, out of New York, I believe. He suggested this. If Bray Wyatt is out for Mania, the potential of last minute adding Lashley in a triple threat to Omos Lesnar, he has history with both of them. Not a bad
Mhm.
idea at all. Or he says, why not put another dominant force against him, which would be his WrestleMania debut, who's been decimating opponents for months on end. You could have Lashley, Bronson Reed, which would be absolutely
Ooh,
big,
I like that.
quite literally. So, would you like to see either of these matches? If so, which one more than the other?
No, I wouldn't want to see either. I
None.
don't. I don't want to see either of them. I would much rather see Lashley interrupt an LA Knight,
Okay.
something like that.
Opposed to I think we're going to get LA Knight on night one or two, regardless, whether it's interrupted by a Stone Cold, interrupted by a Bobby Lashley, maybe him hitting him with a couple of moves or finishers. I could see that. I guess my biggest thing here is, and by the way, as much as I'd love to see Bronson Reed go up against Lashley, I'd rather last minute throw us a curveball and throw Lashley in that match with Omos and Lesnar. Why not?
Mhm.
Honestly, I want to see Lashley on the card. I don't know. I
I
feel
do
like
too.
WrestleMania is
I
kind
do.
of incomplete without him. For a two
Yeah,
night show, I feel like he should be on. I don't know. That's just my thought
I
on it.
agree. I couldn't agree more. I hope he does get on somehow, and maybe it'll surprise us.
I hope so. Alexa Bliss.
Maybe Lashley. Oh, I'm sorry. I was
No,
gonna
no,
say
no.
maybe
Go.
Lashley comes out to help Omos.
Lashley comes out to help
So
Omos. Yeah, and by the way, what's going on? No Hurt Business. Seems like that's coming to a screeching halt too. They teased it all January, December, right?
I
I
feel like
think
they're gonna keep
February
doing
they
it.
kind of stopped it. What are they
Yeah,
waiting for? I mean, I thought we were going to get, everybody back and maybe the addition of an Omos, but don't know what's going on with there. Alexa Bliss. We found out Wednesday Alexa Bliss is clear after undergoing a skin cancer procedure to remove a basal cell carcinoma, the most common form of skin cancer. She went on and I believe put out a something on her story the other day on Instagram. Dear younger me, you should have stayed out of tanning beds. All clear now. Thank you, of course, American Skin Institute for taking great care of me. So shout out to Alexa Bliss, speedy recovery. Glad that was taken care of in timely fashion. Certainly surprising to hear. Gotta be honest. I didn't. Obviously, that was the first we all heard of it the other day.
hmm yeah,
I don't watch The Masked Singer.
um,
Saw her. She was also on there on Wednesday night.
yeah. She lost, but
Yeah,
yeah, she was on there. And Jenny McCarthy knew the whole time.
did she?
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because Ken Jeong, he's a fan of WWE. He's one of the
Oh, okay.
hosts, or one of the judges, and Jenny McCarthy, Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg rather, because she's married to Johnny Wahlberg.
Hey, look, Kevin Hart announced that for his YouTube show, Cold as Balls, gears up for season 8. We're gonna have two superstars from WWE on it. We're gonna have Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair, and of course Logan Paul. So those are two you can look forward to being on the show. Logan Paul, semi-interested, definitely interested in seeing Bianca Belair on there. I think it'll be really funny.
Yeah,
Do you watch that show at all?
I've seen segments of it. Like I've seen like different parts where they like break down like a certain topic, and it's a certain like celebrity on there, but I haven't like watched like a full episode episode.
All right. I've seen the Sasha Banks one a couple years ago. I saw the Undertaker one.
Mm.
Those are two notable WWE ones I've seen. I know he's had other superstars on there as well. Those were two pretty good
Yeah,
episodes. It's a funny show. Funny show.
yeah, I gotta check it out. I know the Undertaker was on it. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, that one's really good. Yeah, I'm fairly certain. On Monday was a decade ago. Bailey made her NXT debut. I believe her debut match, as a matter of fact, was against one Paige, which is pretty interesting. Soraya.
Right, Saraya.
Soraya. Did you happen to catch that NCIS episode this week where you saw the Celtic Warrior Sheamus, this buddy
No,
LL Cool
what?
J? No, I didn't see it either. I was skimming Twitter, and Sheamus I guess put it up the day after. Um, I believe it was Sunday night. It was on Sunday or Monday. I believe it was Sunday.
My
He put
mom's a real big fan of NCIS.
You have to tell her check it out, and even more reason for you to watch it
Well,
too. Behind the scenes,
yeah,
LL Cool J versus LL Cool Shay. But I'm bump. NCIS LA hashtag banger after banger. So that was pretty cool. I haven't watched that show in a very long time, but obviously, if it's wrestling related, you could catch me there. Absolutely. Some other news and notes. I actually have a picture here I got to send you. It's Otis with the Maximum Male Models. Could easily be your new wallpaper for your phone. Um, so anyway, you shake your head. Hey, what do you think about the rumors that came out this week about Triple H A not being a big fan of the Universal Championship, and B, if it is to be replaced sooner than later, the likelihood of him bringing back the big gold belt in place of it. Are you yay or nay on that?
I mean, I would love to see the wingtip. Like, if you're gonna have the world championship, use the wingtip.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I think we're going to get that for the WWE Championship, though, aren't we?
I won't be mad about it. I mean, they've been lobbying for a brand split of titles between USA and Fox. So if they're gonna do it, they might as well switch it up. I don't like the fact that both titles look exactly the same except their colors are different.
Yeah.
But then they would have to do this thing with the women's titles, wouldn't they?
I would assume so. I would assume that they would divvy it up somehow or make it separate in some regard. I think for the men's, it's a great idea. If Cody goes on to win at some point, Mania or shortly thereafter, bring back the Winged Eagle belt for WWE Championship. I love that. It's my favorite by far. And then, I do enjoy the Universal with the strap when it was red and now it's blue. I think it's great. It's beautiful. But I'm all for SmackDown having the big gold and Raw having the Winged Eagle WWE Championship. I think it's a good concept if that's where we're headed. And if they're bringing back the Winged Eagle, I could see them bringing back the big gold because it's kind of silly just having the one with the logo on it. I'd like to see more
Yeah,
personalized titles like the mid card.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
the IC and the US and stuff like that. So I think that would be a great idea. A couple other things, we're out of here. Now, WrestleMania meet and greets. Have you seen some of the prices of these, bro? I mean, I know they're not cheap, but golly, this is
How
crazy.
much?
So, there's a bunch that are sold out here on next Friday. Bailey, Rey Mysterio, etc. Drew McIntyre, April 1st. Any item autographed is upwards of $80. Photos, just a photo unto itself, $90. The Undertaker,
$90?
bro, it gets better or worse. The Undertaker is going to be appearing Saturday, April 1st. A standard autograph from The Undertaker is $200. A professional photo is 209. Can I bring my whole family? Like, bro, I'm bringing 10 people. And we're all getting in there if I'm paying that much.
Listen, with inflation, God, think about next year when we're there.
Bro, I
We're
mean,
we're only taking pictures. I'm only taking pictures with you.
yeah, I was gonna say like selfies are looking real good at this point. Now, if you want a championship belt or a chair, because I've seen it at a lot of conventions and shows, some people just bring a steel chair, millions of autographs they have on there, which is pretty cool concept too. $250 if you just want one of those, not a belt and a chair, belt or a chair.
That's
And last but not
ridiculous.
least, this is only listed for the Undertaker. 1991 rookie card slash WWE slash WWF ticket autograph, whatever the hell that is, $500.
No, I don't need that.
Not doing it, right? Well, hey, the good news here is, look, if you're not looking to spend much money WrestleMania weekend, you could go to Dominic Mysterio's booth where he has the most affordable uh, thing going on here. 50 bucks, any item autographed, and then for a photo it's 60. and then this may be worth it. I don't know. A dual photo with him and Rhea Ripley for 150. Hear me out. That's still a lot of money, but I think just because it's been such a rich segment, a rich dynamic with the two of them for the last 6 months or so, or however long it's been, I think that I don't know. You might have me on
No,
that. You're not doing it.
think about it. Think about what you just said. You said a picture of Dominic Mysterio is $60, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Well, 50.
that
Yeah. I'm
means
sorry. Picture 60, autographs 50. Yeah.
okay. So for $15 more, that's what he's worth with Rhea Ripley. Or they're saying that Rhea Ripley is worth $85
I mean, perhaps that's mommy, right?
or $90 rather. No, no, I don't know what
No.
I'm gonna sneak. But Rhea Ripley did talk about how she doesn't like to be photographed outside of like the
Oh
meet and
yeah,
greets.
that's a
She
whole
did
other
have that
story.
running at the airport. Yeah, that's a whole nother
Yeah,
story for another.
that's something I'm gonna bring up on a next follow up episode. Yeah, that's for sure. She is not too happy about that. I'll tell you about that. Well, many
No,
wrestlers are not. And in
I
short,
get it.
I agree because there was that clip that went around with Liv Morgan, specifically Rey Mysterio last month, where all the people that are selling on eBay and so on, Marketplace, wherever, they literally come up to them with like 10 to 15 items of 8x10s and action figures and memorabilia, sign. It's not some little kid, or even if it was me and you, hey, look, a long time, lifelong fan, could I get a picture? Can you sign this, one thing? They'll do it. But you got all these people that they've seen numerous times throughout the year. I mean, come on, I get it. You got to draw the line. It's too much.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
It's too much. Well, look, Stacy Keibler. I think we're getting her in the Hall of Fame. I think she may be the very next announcement come tonight or Monday. She just activated her Twitter account for the first time in apparently a few years. She tweeted on Thursday, "Hi, been busy the last few years as a mother, wife, and raising my kids, but excited to be back and reconnect." It's a picture of what looks to be her three children with her. Looks like we're gonna get Stacy Keibler. I mean, that seems to be the reason she's randomly back on Twitter this time of year. It's
We
been a
don't
few
even
years.
need her. We just need her legs. Ooh, those legs. Those legs.
First the lotion
Leg
earlier.
lotion.
Oh gosh, this.
Luscious leg lotion.
Oh, stop it. Well, you cut it out.
Such a man.
You know what's unfortunate. This guy, man. Where did we find him from? I got you from Craigslist. I looked for co-hosts on Craigslist. This is the best we got, guys. Hey, look,
He's lying. I have pictures of us from 15 years ago.
they're
Don't
all
listen to him.
they're all photoshopped. He's really good at Photoshop. That's right. That one you sent me from 2008 the other day. That was your 21st birthday, right? I remember
Yep.
that like it was yesterday, man. I remember that. I remember Lewis drove us up there. I remember us all taking shots in the living room. That was a fun time. Fun time.
Yep. Oh, good times. At my grandma's house? Oh,
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
yeah.
What city was that?
South Plainfield.
South Plainfield. Okay, I forgot. That was the one thing I meant to
Yep.
ask you when you sent me that photo. I forgot whereabouts it was. Look, this is going to be the first WrestleMania, seemingly, since he's been with the company, that AJ Styles will not be partaking in. He's been in 7 WrestleManias, and this is
That's
this is
unfortunate.
going to be I love AJ, man, and I think
Yeah.
him along with Randy Orton, I think could very well be one of the returns we see in the coming weeks after Mania
Yeah,
or after
they've
Mania
been talking
SmackDown.
about Randy coming back. I've been hearing a lot of rumblings about Randy Orton coming back.
Did you see that Snickers commercial with AJ Styles and Braun Breaker the other day? Came on a few times.
No?
Yeah, they're
Oh, I
already.
gotta check.
Yeah, they're already. Braun's definitely got to be a guy that's going to be coming up. Of course, Carmelo Hayes has got to be beating him at Stand and Deliver for that NXT Championship.
Yeah,
We'll see, Braun. I just wonder if he's coming to Raw or SmackDown. My guess would be Monday Night Raw.
I can see that. So what's your real quick, what is your favorite like spoof commercial?
Favorite spoof commercial of all time?
Like that, like so no, so
Oh,
far this year
of
for
this year's
like the
WrestleMania group.
yeah.
Oh man, there's been quite a few. I know one of the more recent ones has been Rhea Ripley, right? She's been in there.
Stranger
Um,
Things, yeah, she has Stranger Things one.
I know there's been at least 4 or 5. Refresh my memory. What's a few of the other ones they've had recent past?
So the most recent one was the Brawling Brutes and Shane and Drew
Oh,
McIntyre did the 40-year-old virgin.
yes, the Ridge was getting waxed. Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
good. That was pretty good.
They had the Miz and Maurice Top Gun.
Okay, I did see that. Yep.
They had Bianca and Montez Ford to the Titanic.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch did the Joker.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
And the Batman. And then Rhea Ripley did that. And then there's one more that hasn't come out yet. It's gonna be the last one. It's gonna be Roman Reigns and the Usos. They're doing a Goodfellas.
Ooh, I think, look, completely unbiased here. Those T-shirts that we have from a couple years ago with Paul Heyman, the
Perfect.
Usos, and Roman, yeah, that's right up that alley. So I think that has the potential to be the greatest one by far. But that's yet
Yeah.
to come out yet.
Roman's
So
shirt right now.
what's that?
Roman's new shirt right now is
Is pretty badass with Paul Heyman.
yeah.
Yeah, I say that could be a potential winner. But from what's been released, man, I don't know. I don't know which one I would pick. I'll probably go with the Titanic, Bianca and Montez, the Crawfords.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's funny. He's like, wait, did you when they dropped the phone, did you save it to the cloud? No.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so
I'm gonna go
funny.
back and watch that one, but from what I recall of all of them, I think that was the one I found the most entertaining.
Yeah, I think the
Love
Seth
Maurice
Rollins
though.
as the Joker one. Oh yeah, I didn't like that. I love Maurice, but I think the Joker one with Seth Rollins was really good too.
That
But
was the
I'm
first
very
one,
excited to see. Yeah,
right? That
I'm
was the
very
first one. That
excited
was
to
very good.
see like what this Goodfellas rendition is. I think that's going to be really cool.
That should be good. And well, it's got to be coming out in the coming days. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thanks for giving us the heads up on that one. Go back to AJ Styles real quick. I want to know which one was your favorite match of his in WrestleMania those 7 years, right? Dating back to
Ooh.
from 32 all the way through 38. So I'm going to start off right here in chronological order. I'm going to go up AJ Styles, Chris Jericho, AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, where I thought he was going to win the title, Nakamura,
For the title.
AJ Styles, Randy Orton, of course, the cinematic match, graveyard, amazing match, AJ Styles, Undertaker, AJ Styles and Omos when they defeated the New Day at WrestleMania 37 for those Raw tag titles. And of course, last year we saw AJ Edge, where Damian Priest joined the fold with Edge and the beginning of the Judgment Day we saw. So, what was your favorite? I'm going to jump in here and say, you know, uh, the cinematic match, WrestleMania 36, probably my favorite, maybe because it was The Undertaker's last match. Perfectly done. And likely right up there with it would be WrestleMania 34, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Um, I would go with the Boneyard match. I thought that was probably my favorite. I'm kind of biased. I love Shane McMahon matches because they're so over the top.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably go that second. I love the Chris Jericho match because that dynamic, his first WrestleMania, thrown right into the mix. I thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's more so which matches didn't I like, and that was obviously the one with Omos. But yeah, I feel like it's hard for him not to put on a great show during a big event like WrestleMania. So, but I'm gonna go with the Boneyard match.
All right. And hey, going back to his first WrestleMania match, first Chris Jericho, I'm sure you remember Y2AJ. That lasted what, all of 5 days?
Yep.
I think
Yeah, when they
their
were
shirt went up
attacking
on
for a quick
WWE
second,
Shop, and it was done before you knew it.
we should find it and wear it.
I would actually. It was a very basic shirt, Y2AJ. I think black shirt, blue lettering. I would have loved to get that shirt looking back on it now, especially just the rich history. That was his introduction to the company. Jericho's no longer there. Um,
Hmm.
that'd have been pretty cool merch to get. All right, last thing, bro. Last thing I promise you, and to all the good folks listening, we all do appreciate you tuning into the Turnbuckle Topics podcast. Now, it's been mentioned, speaking back to the Hall of Fame, we know Andy Kaufman's in the celebrity wing, that long-standing feud, or that notable feud he had with Jerry Lawler in the early 80s. Um, there has been talks of WWE honoring a referee into the WWE Hall of Fame. It's unclear which referee will be inducted. Multiple sources have said that it's someone the entire industry loved, and this was broke by PW Insider Elite. A lot of people think Charles Robinson, Earl Hebner, Mike Chioda. I'm gonna I'm gonna go out on a limb here, which they surprisingly released 2 years ago after being with the company since basically WrestleMania 1. I'm gonna go
Senior
out on a
official
limb.
Mike Chioda.
What's that?
I just like when the senior official Mike Chioda.
Oh yeah, no, he was good, man. He was really good. I think all the three I mentioned are in the conversation, but I got to go out on a limb. This man, not only did he pass away last year, but he was very involved with the company right up until his untimely passing last year. Covered a lot of the meet and greets, all the travel. Dates back to a long-standing relationship with Andre the Giant. I'm gonna go with Tim White as the
Tim what?
referee that goes into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, I like that, and I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Um, my all-time favorite was obviously Earl Hebner, senior professional
Oh
Earl
yeah.
Hebner,
That
Mike Chioda, Charles Robinson.
Lil
What was the
Nate.
guy that? Yep, Lil Nate. What was the guy that was in WCW? Nick something.
Nick Patrick.
Nick
He was
Patrick.
bro.
Yep,
He was in the NWO in WCW.
he was.
Yeah. That's when they were like, "Oh my God, there's a crooked ref. He's with the NWO." I was like, "Wow, everybody's joining the NWO at this point." But
Yeah.
after Tim White, I would certainly put in Earl Hebner. But Tim White would be my first. Earl Hebner would be my second choice, from a personal
Like
standpoint.
when I think of referees, I think he's like the epitome. Like I would love a referee shirt, not like a striped shirt, but like I would like referees to have their own merch.
Yeah. Oh, what the hell? Yeah. And the first ref you'd buy for is Earl Hebner.
Oh yeah, and then
Okay.
Mike Chioda.
All right. Yeah, I'm Earl Tim White, but yeah, Mike Chioda was cool. Lil Nate, I loved him in WCW more so for me because once he came over to WWE from
Mm.
WCW, that was a long time period where I did not watch in the
Yeah,
early 2000s. But that was the last story we're covering today. But you know what I didn't get
yeah,
from you today? I didn't get a shush. I didn't get a yeah. Can we get something like that before we head on out of here?
yeah. Let me talk to you. Shoosh.
Before I shush.
And that's why it's a great time to be a fan of professional wrestling.
I mean, I'm all right. We're gonna end it right there. Before I shoosh, ladies and gentlemen, on a recent episode of Celtic Warrior Workouts with Sheamus, he had one LA Knight on the show, and he had two specific desserts, snacks, call it what you want, that he loves. Guess, guess what the two things are. I'll give you. I'll give you. Do you want a hint? Do you want a hint?
Is one of them cheesecake?
No, but it's along the lines of.
Ooh,
It's along the lines of pastry, I guess you could say. Both of them.
cannoli.
Not cannolis. I'll give you one more guess. Now let's let you know both of them.
Um, toaster strudel.
Well, not too far off. He said LA Knight is a huge fan of donuts and
Okay.
cinnamon rolls. So that's what he
Okay.
said his weakness is, which was pretty interesting. He doesn't like Boston cream though. Sheamus was ringing out
Oof.
naming some donuts. He says he's not a big fan of that. He likes more of the,
Yeah.
I guess, chocolate cream filled donuts. I like Boston cream. You're not a fan?
I have to be in the mood for it.
You're going to have a donut. What's the first one you go for?
Chocolate glazed.
Chocolate glaze is good. I had one this week, believe it or not. But
Immediately.
I'm a strawberry sprinkled donut kind of guy. I don't like
I don't like.
strawberries per se. I don't like strawberry
I
milk, but
don't
I
like.
like donuts.
I don't like sprinkles.
You don't. Oh my. Oh wow.
I also don't eat ice cream. I also don't eat ice cream.
You don't eat ice cream. Lactose intolerant or by choice?
But I think it's gross.
Oh, you just think ice cream's gross.
I just think ice cream is disgusting. I don't eat it. I don't.
Your whole life you never
No.
liked it.
Nope. Ever since I was like a little kid.
You eat like sherbet or pudding or anything like that or no?
I'll have sherbet. I'll have sherbet occasionally. I'll have frozen yogurt once in a blue moon.
Okay.
Um,
Little TCBY.
but yeah, I don't like. But I don't like ice cream. I don't like ice cream cake. I don't like. I
Wow.
also don't. Yeah, never.
What if I pull up on your next birthday, October 8th next or later this year with Fudgy the Whale from Carvel? You're gonna say no thanks. Thought it was nice of you
I
to.
don't like chocolate.
This podcast is really taking a nosedive. You don't like ice cream.
I
You don't like wait, but you like chocolate glazed donuts.
I like chocolate. Listen. I like
Oh
chocolate
god.
glazed donuts. I like Kit Kats, and that's where I draw the line.
Oh, that's it. That's it for chocolate with you.
I mean, if you want to
Wow.
count peanut M&Ms, but outside of that, I don't eat chocolate.
Wow. Well, I mean, hey, I guess that's good. I guess. So you don't have a super sweet tooth, or you're just super specific.
Um, I mean,
I mean, you like your sweet teas. We know that. You like some sweet tea,
yeah. I
but
mean, there's times where I want some like candy. I like gummy worms. I like gummy bears. But that's kind of it. Like I'm more of a savory. I love chips. I'm a chips
Oh,
guy.
you
When it
like
comes to
you're more
snacks, I like,
salt than sugar. You're more of a salt guy.
yeah.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. Ever so often, I'll splurge on some, or I'll have like an Oreo craving, and I'll
Hmm.
get a bag or I'll get a box of Oreos. I'll destroy it, and then I'll feel sick and will not eat chocolate for like a year.
Yeah.
I like Twinkies.
Twinkies. I'm not a big Twinkie fan. I loved them when I was a kid. Loved them when I was a kid, but I oh wow, he's got a box right there. You getting paid for this advertisement or
It's
what?
empty. It's empty,
Oh, the box is empty.
but yeah, it was delicious.
Well, look, if I'm out in a pinch, I stop at 7-Eleven or whatever, I will take a little sugar and a little salt, I guess you could say. I'll grab a pack of Twizzlers because I like licorice, and I'll grab some pretzel thins. I like a little bit of both. Matter of fact, I may or may not have had some of both earlier today, but that's nor here
Now,
nor
do you
there.
like Sambuca?
It's all right. Not crazy about it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get it. But if somebody threw it in like my
Ugh,
Christmas, if somebody threw it in my Christmas stocking or it's in like a little giveaway basket or something, I'll have it. But I'm not going to go to the store and purchase it. If that makes sense.
yeah. No, I get it. No,
I've only had it a handful of times. I'm not crazy about it like that, but I like a Twizzler, nothing else. You know.
I get it.
All right, we'll leave it at that, folks. We go off topic on Turnbuckle topics, but that's what it's all about. We can't just speak pro wrestling or sports entertainment. We're humans, right? We got to talk real life stuff at the end of the day. So
Yeah,
that's what it's all about, bro.
Mariah
But
Carey.
thank you, Mariah Carey. She comes in the conversation. Who knows what we'll talk about next week? But what I can tell you, Justin, and everybody that's listening, is we are on our way to the final week leading up to WrestleMania next week, and it's exciting. Next weekend's going to be a jam-packed week. Again, this is the Raw review. Before you know it, we're going to have our next go-home episode of Raw. Then we're going to have the Raw review for that. We're going to have a prediction show, which we're going to split up night 1 and night 2. I myself will likely do an NXT Stand and Deliver predictions episode as well. And we'll see what happens. I know Ring of Honor is having their super card next Friday night. I believe at the same time as SmackDown. It's just a great time to be a fan of professional wrestling.
I'm
There,
gonna
I
sue
said it.
you.
I took your line. I'm getting sued after this. All right, folks. Well, thank you as always for tuning into the Turnbuckle Topics podcast. That's my co-host, Justin. I'm your host, Pat Deneen, and we will see you next time. Thanks for listening.